the Netherlands sparking outrage. The panels installed back in 2024 highlighted segregation and Black servicemen stories. Officials are demanding their reinstatement. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Is this the title?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
Dodger star Shohei Ohtani is the National League MVP for the second straight year. Ohtani was a unanimous vote by a panel of media members. He helped the Dodgers win back-to-back World Series titles with 55 homers and 102 RBIs. The Lakers are in New Orleans tonight, fourth game of a 5-game road trip. The Clippers are at Dallas tonight. They're trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge denied a request for a temporary restraining order to keep the UCLA football program from moving from the Rose Bowl to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. The restraining order had been requested by the city of Pasadena and the Rose Bowl. UCLA is considering moving to SoFi, but has yet to make an official announcement. The school is under contract to play its football games at the Rose Bowl through 2044. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Let me be clear about what we're witnessing here. A textbook case of talking about communities instead of talking with them. Pedro Pizarro, president and CEO of Edison International, found time this week to sit down with the LA Times to discuss their so-called fast pay program for those impacted by the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. We think it is neither fast nor fair, but when we organized the community town hall, Southern California Edison first confirmed participation and then abruptly canceled. There was no time available on Mr. Pizarro's calendar for a face-to-face conversation with the individuals and families who have lost everything due to the negligence of Southern California Edison. This is not an accident. This is a choice about who deserves direct engagement and who gets managed through press statements. When you talk to the LA Times about people, you control the narrative. You get to frame the issues on your terms, with your spin, filtered through journalists who may or may not push back. But when you show up to a town hall, you face real questions from real people experiencing real problems. There's no PR buffer. There's real accountability. This pattern of being available to corporate media, but unavailable for community dialogue, sends a clear message about whose voices matter and whose don't. It's the kind of disrespect that hides behind busy schedules and prior commitments, but the community sees right through it. If these issues are important enough to discuss with the LA Times, they're important enough to discuss directly with the people living them. Anything less isn't just disrespectful, it's a fundamental failure of leadership and accountability. Mr. Pizarro says in the LA Times interview, I need to go to the supermarket in Pasadena or Altadena and be able to look people in the eye. We want to do the right thing for our community. You had a chance to look folk in the eye at our town hall meeting last week, but you didn't show up. And then we invited you for a one-on-one conversation here at the station, but you have yet to confirm. So please stop with the gaslighting. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 15. Thank God. It's Fat Meat Friday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm joined by our special guest host, Gina A. Towns.
You're muted.
And I believe I'm muted. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I don't believe I'm muted, but I'm going to continue. Thank God it's Fat Meat Friday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm joined by special guest Gina A. Towns on Reflectivity, bringing it all home. It's a packed day with reflections for the week and nuggets for what we've learned, woven throughout our last 2 hours before the weekend. Join us as we close out our Veterans Day and Veterans Week salute. In our first hour, Colonel Anthony Reyes serves as Vice President for Project Child. Colonel Reyes is responsible for implementing the College Boot Camp Initiative that provides children of parents who are owed child support a full 4-year scholarship. He holds a Master's of Arts degree in Human Resources Development from Webster University and a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management from Hampton University. After completing his War College Fellowship at the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies in Washington, D.C., he was tasked to stand up and oversee the U.S. Army's diversity program. He also served as a senior Army instructor for the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps in Palm Beach County, where his duties included preparing students for the rigors of college and nominating select cadets to attend the military academy. Colonel Reyes, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Hey, thank you, Jesse. My honor to be here. Thank you very much.
It really is a pleasure to have you here. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Hi, Jesse Jackson Jr. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm hanging in there.
We are all holding you up and your family in prayer.
We certainly appreciate that. I had a wonderful time with Dad last night, and my little sister was sitting there, and I decided to make an evening out of it. Going to make another evening out of it again in his current state. And I was just reflecting upon the power of a single man to change the world. And I genuinely believe that when I look at the life of Jesse Jackson. Some people will analyze his life from the context of presidential campaigns in 1984 and 88. Truth be told, he did not miss a presidential campaign in 1972 in Gary, Indiana. He didn't miss one in Jimmy Carter's election in 1976. He didn't miss one in 1980, Reagan's first election, 84, his second election. He did not miss the George Bush years, the Clinton years, and the George Bush 2 years. He just didn't miss it. And so we can measure him by politics, but we're going to have to look and reflect upon the life of Jesse Jackson far more comprehensively than as a politician. This was a genuine public servant who came in the world with nothing and is going to leave the world with far more than the world he has ever taken anything from. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So thank you, Gina, for holding our family up in prayer. Colonel, we've been talking this week about the military. We've been talking about veterans. We've been paying our homage to the men and women who've paid the last full measure of their devotion to the American people. And I'm so glad that you're on our program today.
Thank you, Jesse. Again, my honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Colonel, we're going to be coming forward in just a few moments. Can you share with us your thoughts about your pride as a serviceman serving your country in the armed services?
Well, interesting enough, when I came to Hampton, which is where I attended undergraduate, I really did not have a military career in mind. Thank goodness it was those people that were currently in the program that questioned me and asked me about my future goals and explained to me how rewarding life in the military could be. So I was at least at that point willing to give it a shot, or to at least use it as a jump start coming out of school. I definitely did not want to go back home. I wanted to keep moving forward. So I would say that it has been one of the best decisions I've made in my lifetime. It's been extremely rewarding. I've seen the world. I've been all over. I've met and worked with great people. Oftentimes you get asked, why did I stay 28 and a half years? And it's really about the people. So it's been an honor for me to serve. It's an honorable career, and I've enjoyed it.
You're listening to Fat Meat Fridays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is Colonel Anthony Reyes, a man of honor who served as Vice President of the Project Child Support. And I'm so grateful that he's with us, and Gina Towns on Fat Meat Fridays. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed with what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima's award-winning team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Actual client compensated for sharing their experience. Some restrictions apply. Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Guys, don't propose with a ring that she didn't pick out. Trust us, she already has a ring in mind. So engage with Gage Diamonds, in person or online, where Gage's skilled ring designers will work with her to create the perfect setting, matched with the perfect stone. Gage specializes in exquisite lab-grown diamonds. Financing available. GageDiamonds.com. We're engagement's middle name.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it! Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. You know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA 1580. Our very special guest and host today is Gina A. Towns, President and CEO of 519 Productions, and the executive producer, creator, director, programming, and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Smiley Audio Media, KBLA Talk 1580. She's also the host of Reflectivity on our weekly series, Fat Meat Fridays, a graduate of Hampton University with a Bachelor of Arts in Mass Media, Communications, and Journalism. Gina earned her Master's of Arts in Theology and Social Justice from Princeton Theological Seminary. Gina, welcome forward to the show.
Jesse, what a week. I've had a great time with the veterans, though. How about that?
They're amazing people, men and women of honor. Gina, you have a clip that you want to show us.
I do. This, Tony, Colonel, I'm sorry. You know, I have to call you Colonel on the show.
That's okay.
While it is not a current clip, it's something that I think you'll be able to relate to, and I can't wait for you to respond to it. This is General Billy.
I'm deeply honored to have worn the cloth of this nation for 43 and a half years, and I'm humbled to have served as the 20th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But today is not about anyone up here on this stage. It's not about the President, the Secretary of Defense, me, CQ. It's not about us. It's about something much larger than all of us. It's about our democracy. It's about our republic. We are unique among the world's armies. We are unique among the world's militaries. We don't take an oath to a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator. We don't take an oath to an individual. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that it's America, and we're willing to die to protect it. Those values and ideas are contained within the Constitution of the United States of America, which is the moral North Star for all of us who have the privilege of wearing the cloth of our nation. It is that document that all of us in uniform swear to protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Those who sacrificed themselves on the altar of freedom in the last 2.5 centuries of this country must not have done so in vain. The millions wounded in our nation's wars did not sacrifice their limbs and shed their blood to see this great experiment in democracy perish from this earth. No, we the American people, we the American military, must never turn our back on those that came before us. And we will never turn our back on the Constitution. That is our North Star. That is who we are, and that is why we fight. Thank you, and may God bless our military, and may God bless the United States of America.
Gina, very powerful words from the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Pretty amazing. Colonel Reyes, I will assume, unless you tell me different, you were under General Milley's command.
That's correct. And I would echo his words that anyone that has worn a uniform even for a day should feel the same way. It's about belonging to something bigger than you. We all take the same oath. It's to the Constitution. And if anyone who's worn a uniform of any of our services feels differently, I'm not sure what they heard when they raised their hand to take that oath.
Mm. How does it hit you today? Obviously, that was a different time and place, and our nation was in a different time and place, and people in the military were in a different head space, maybe even heart space. So tell me how that hits you today.
It kind of hits tough because there's just a different narrative there, and the Constitution seems to be taking a back seat. although everyone coming in, even if they came in yesterday, is still taking the same oath. So it strikes pretty deep. And soldiers, airmen, Marines, sailors, they all understand what they're doing when they raise their hand, and and they understand the definition of the oath. So last thing that needs to happen is for any confusion to be out there regarding what taking that oath actually means.
Colonel, I have a little interesting insight. I began digging it the other day with Johnny Mack on our World House program on Thursday about the unique role of the Negro soldier and patriotism in our historic movements for social justice. And I reminded some students just the other day that from 1619 to July 4th, 1776, we did live under a king. We did live under a king. And of course, the Constitution is written on September 17th, 1787, and the Bill of Rights are added in 1791. And then we lived under, after George Washington, 14 additional presidents, 15 including George Washington, under 15 presidents who sanctioned slavery until Abraham Lincoln. The Emancipation Proclamation, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution of the United States. And then, of course, Brown versus the Board of Education, overturning Plessy of 1896, and the Civil Rights Movement, and the democratization of America by largely African Americans who fought for extending these basic rights. It seems to me that Black people, Colonel, have fought for this nation before it was a nation. Once it became a nation, was rejected by the nation and continued to fight for it. And it is in that context that when I hear General Milley's speech, even as great as I think the speech was, I recognize that we have been under a king before, and we had to fight him too. So the operative word here is tyranny under kings, tyranny under presidents. We've been there, and the Black soldier has certainly been
there. Acknowledged, and I would say that the to me, it's about the adversity. It's about still standing when the smoke clears. We are. I believe if I just take on a personal note that I feel like I've had to prove myself at every duty assignment, even after getting great reviews and high marks. But it seemed like as you move from one assignment to the next, you're back to square one, proving that not only should you be there, but you should also be afforded the opportunity of the position that you're selected for. And I must say, it just about every one of the assignments, it was like starting back at square one. So, and that's just not me. I would clearly believe that most of my fellow officers and non-commissioned officers and soldiers have probably been under the same type of scrutiny. But I believe we understand that it kind of goes with the territory. When I was at Hampton, had an instructor tell our class, our ROTC cadets did, and this is a white instructor, but he told us we needed to be 2 to 3 times better than our white counterparts if we wanted to make it in this Army. That's what we were told. And to tell you the truth, I thank him for it, because he gave us the blueprint. He told us what was required. If we wanted to have a military career, he told us what was required and what we needed to be able to do and be prepared to do to be able to succeed. So I believe I came into this with my eyes wide open, due in large part to that instructor just laying down the facts to us. So you take it for what it's worth, but you keep your head up. And you don't take no for an answer. You keep doing the best you can day in and day out, and you let the chips fall where they may.
Gina, there is a consistent theme that's emerging between our men and women who've served their nation in the public sector and what we're hearing from men and women in the private sector, that in either sector, Black people have to be superior just to be equal. And I just heard that from Colonel Reyes, and it about leaped off of the the clover off of his uniform when he said that.
So I think that most people who came along in our era heard from your parents.
Not a clover.
You have to be.
It's a full bird eagle, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
It's a full bird. I apologize.
It's a full bird. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, sir.
Gina. That's okay.
I think we've heard that from our parents growing up. You're going to have to be twice as good. You heard it from your elementary school teachers. You're going to have to be twice as good. I think what's interesting about that whole scenario is it doesn't matter that you're twice as good. Sometimes you can apply yourself. You can be all that you can be. And still, there seems to be a glass ceiling, sometimes a brick wall. But I just want to very briefly, let's do this. And I'm going to do it even like this. Everyone can still, if you're only listening, we are looking at a promo for Colonel Reyes here. And it says former U.S. Army head of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if you see him in his full regalia, in his uniform, there's so many star stripes,
medals, awards.
It's amazing. So now, Tony, I'm sorry, Colonel Reyes.
No, Tony is fine. Tony is fine.
Describe to us as civilians what it is and what it was like being the head of diversity, equity, inclusion in the United States Army.
Amazing. Great question. Let me start by saying I was selected for a War College Fellowship at the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies, which was headed up by Togo West, who was then Secretary of the Army, former Secretary of the Army. And I would tell you that I was asked to study diversity for that year, knowing that I would come out after that year and take on the standing up of the diversity office. Just to be honest, it was probably 18 months of probably the toughest time that I've had in the military, to include combat time, Ranger School, and a number of other things I've done. And the reason I say that is because I'm not prepared. I'm not sure we were prepared totally, even though we had the backing of the Secretary of the Army, Chief of Staff of the Army. You still had to deal with that stigma of thinking that diversity is going to be just quote unquote another EO program. The diversity is, and there's nothing wrong with an EO program, but a lot of people even get that wrong, thinking that we're giving something to someone who has not earned it or someone who is not qualified, which is totally wrong. The diversity really focuses on those things, those unique things that actually make those things that make us unique as human beings. It's about recognizing, respecting, and valuing those things: age, sex, religion, sexual orientation, religion, or what have you. All of those things make us unique. And it's been proven that those organizations with diversity are more effective than those without. So it's really a no-brainer, and it's amazing how over 20 to 25 years this now has become almost a bad word, and I see organizations left and right doing away with their diversity programs where it's a force multiplier. It's proven. And if we're very concerned about our bottom line being money or the happiness of our workforce, why you would think it's a smart thing to do away with a diversity program is amazing to me. That is why every service had a diversity program, and DOD had a diversity program. So
I'm Jesse. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest is Colonel Anthony D. Reyes on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. More with Colonel Reyes when we come forward.
Sorry about that.
The biggest names, the best conversations. You're riding with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The government shutdown is over, but federal workers are still waiting on back pay. This Black worker in Birmingham, Alabama says seeing an 80-hour check show up at $0 was tough with Christmas around the corner.
I'm a single parent and was kind of already living paycheck to paycheck.
And a judge ruled the Trump administration cannot block states from sending full SNAP benefits. Georgia's election case against President Trump is moving forward. The state's prosecuting attorneys council head, Pete Scandalakis, will now lead the case after Black Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis was removed over her relationship with the special prosecutor. Trump and others are accused of trying to overturn the 2020 lawyers want his LA murder for hire case dropped after learning a judge and prosecutors got death threats that were not shared with his team. Dirk, indicted last October, is set for trial January 20th. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Let me be clear about what we're witnessing here. A textbook case of talking about communities instead of talking with them. Pedro Pizarro, president and CEO of Edison International, found time this week to sit down with the LA Times to discuss their so-called fast pay program for those impacted by the Altadena-Eaton Canyon fire. We think it is neither fast nor fair, but when we organized the community town hall, Southern California Edison first confirmed participation and then abruptly canceled. There was no time available on Mr. Pizarro's calendar for a face-to-face conversation with the individuals and families who have lost everything due to the negligence of Southern California Edison. This is not an accident. This is a choice about who deserves direct engagement and who gets managed through press statements. When you talk to the LA Times about people, you control the narrative. You get to frame the issues on your terms, with your spin, filtered through journalists who may or may not push back. But when you show up to a town hall, you face real questions from real people experiencing real problems. There's no PR buffer. There's real accountability. This pattern of being available to corporate media, but unavailable for community dialogue, sends a clear message about whose voices matter and whose don't. It's the kind of disrespect that hides behind busy schedules and prior commitments, but the community sees right through it. If these issues are important enough to discuss with the LA Times, they're important enough to discuss directly with the people living them. Anything less isn't just disrespectful, it's a fundamental failure of leadership and accountability. Mr. Pizarro says in the LA Times interview, I need to go to the supermarket in Pasadena or Altadena and be able to look people in the eye. We want to do the right thing for our community. You had a chance to look folk in the eye at our town hall meeting last week, but you didn't show up. And then we invited you for a one-on-one conversation here at the station, but you have yet to confirm. So please stop with the gaslighting. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Guys, don't propose with a ring that she didn't pick out. Trust us, she already has a ring in mind. So engage with Gage Diamonds, in person or online, where Gage's skilled ring designers will work with her to create the perfect setting, matched with the perfect stone. Gage specializes in exquisite lab-grown diamonds. Financing available. GageDiamonds.com. We're engagement's middle name.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Fat Meat Fridays and Reflectivity with Gina Towns. Our very special guest is Colonel Anthony Reyes. Colonel, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns.
Thank you, Jesse. Again, my honor to be here.
Gina, you want to pick back up on something we were talking about just before the break.
Absolutely. I cannot move away from the head of our armed services as he oversaw diversity, equity, inclusion. I need to know if that still exists. Does that office, does that position still exist, Colonel Reyes?
And you know what? I would like to be able to give you an intelligent answer. I am really not sure. I've seen a lot in the news. I tried to do a quick fact check on it before we came on the air, and as far as I can tell, they're still existing across the services as well. But if you listen to the news on a nightly basis, you would think that they're not there. So, as I said, I did a quick check before I came on. Apparently, it seems that they are still there in effect. But as you can see, day in and day out, it seems like it's being turned into more of a bad word than what it should be, which again is a force multiplier for, forget just the Army or the military. I'm talking any organization, companies, corporations. That's why they all had diversity programs. So again, I'd like to give you a solid answer on that. I'm not sure. From my fact check, it looks like they're still operating.
The military has been an exclusive club for many, many decades, if not centuries, at least two. It is the largest budget in the history of any military ever spent in the history of the world. History does matter. Native Americans, their inclusive participation in our armed services, African Americans, women, and not just in their service where they're risking their lives, but in post-service where many disabled-owned veteran businesses seek to do business with the Pentagon and seek to do business with our armed services. And the question I have, Colonel Reyes, is without a diversity, equity, and inclusion office, it seems to me that the Pentagon's good old boys and good old buddies network would never look to these men and women and their sacrifice and give them the kinds of opportunities that they would need to also participate in the largesse of what is our nation's military.
Unfortunately, Jesse, I agree. And I think I'd have the same feeling about some of our young men and women who are coming in today. When you hear some of the rhetoric on the news from day to day, it seems like there's no guardrails. At least when I came in 1984, even if you felt a certain kind of way, you were not going to show that out in the public. When you hear some of the rhetoric that I hear on TV stations and on the TV set from day to day, it looks like it's a just say whatever you want to say. regardless of whether it's right or wrong, or whether those words should never be coming out of your mouth. So I have a strong concern about our young men and women that are coming in today. And it ties right into what you're talking about as far as Black-owned businesses wanting to do business with our government. I would not blame them for having concerns just about what they're hearing on their TVs and on the news stations and reputable news stations day in and day out. Uh, it's just verbiage that's going on unchecked. Some of it being even verbiage that's not legal. So yes, I've got a major concern.
Does this impact recruitment, Colonel, from your perspective, when one considers the overwhelming percentage of African Americans, our Hispanic brothers and sisters, our Native Americans and women who would like and have considered a career in services and dedicating such a sacrificial life to the service of our nation?
Yes, I would say absolutely. Anyone that's paying attention, and as an ROTC instructor, I encourage my young people to go and watch the news and make sure they stay up with current events. So I'd have to say absolutely. And if they are not paying attention, just sitting around, you have to look at this thing from a perspective of, young people are coming in, but they have parents at home as well. And if they're sitting around the table at dinner time, having these kinds of discussions, a lot of these young people look for the backing of their parents to support them when they're going off into a career choice like the military. And there are real concerns today with a lot of the rhetoric that you hear. So I don't see how it couldn't be affecting our numbers. I did hear a few weeks ago that, and again, I don't even know how valid this was, that it was not having any effect at all. I just have a problem with that.
Colonel, let me ask you a question. When you signed up for your service to the nation, did you ever conceive that the idea when you were signing up that you might, and of course you obviously are retired,
right,
that you might be called into duty in blue cities in the United States?
No. No, what we all were really concerned of or concerned with was actually going into a combat situation. I'm sure everyone who raises their hand has that concern. Going from one state, which of course we're talking about the Guard in this respect, thinking about preparing to go from your state into another state. I'm pretty sure if you questioned a lot of the guardsmen that are active today, they would probably tell you that they had no idea, would not expect that either, except for instances like a national disaster or hurricane. Look at Hurricane Katrina, where I believe we had National Guard from about 23 states go in and support in that effort, which is understandable. When you talk about the kind of effort that we've seen here of late, where we're supposedly sending in Guard troops to go into different states for crime situations that, if you listen to the actual governors, are situations that are non-existent. No, I would think that a lot of those soldiers are finding themselves in a very shocked situation when it comes down to that.
Gina, I find it fascinating that the colonel says that that they would raise their hand concerned about combat situations in foreign lands, but that it would be the rare soldier who would dream of the idea that they would be looking at their neighbors as potential combatants. Gina?
It is a curious case, is it not? I am also drawn to the curious case of General C.Q. Brown, nominated by President Trump in his first term, served as the Joint Chief of Staff in the Biden term. I mean, there are some things that just need some consistency. But we find that he was then removed as the Joint Chief of Staff. Now, I had an occasion to be in his presence at the Pentagon. He had a celebration for Juneteenth for all of the services to enjoy, and the Hampton University Terpsichoreans were under my lead there. I have to tell you that he was one of the most polished, well-spoken, disciplined people I have ever heard speak, and his command was extraordinary. Can you tell me what do you think possibly when we come back from this break could be the case that a Joint Chief of Staff could serve in 2 administrations and then abruptly be let go? I'm going to let Jesse close us out, but we will be right back.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to KBLA on Talk 1580. More when we come forward with Colonel Anthony Reyes.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Established in 2020 during a time of deep racial unrest across our state and country, the Black Freedom Fund was created to make sure that leaders and organizations working to support Black communities and build power have the resources they need to stay in the fight for the long haul. We believe that those closest to the issues impacting our communities know best how to solve them. That's why in just the last 5 years, we've granted more than $45 million to over 200 grassroots organizations across California. That is the largest collective investment in Black organizing in history, and we're just getting started. We are clear-eyed and committed, more now than ever, to our people, our power, and our possibility. Join us in creating a future where Black people harness their full power to shape their lives and realize a just world for all. Learn more at fundblackfreedom.org. That's fundblackfreedom.org. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We have been discussing this week our nation's veterans, particularly from the perspective of African American men, women, Hispanic brothers and sisters, minorities in our service who've given the last full measure of their devotion to the nation. And we're wrapping it up this week after having an extraordinary Veterans Day in honor of the men and women who've given the last full measure of their devotion to our nation on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. Gina is the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And our very special guest is Colonel Anthony D. Reyes. Gina and Colonel Reyes, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. You were asking a question just before the break.
Absolutely. I was asking about the curious case of General C.Q. Brown.
Okay, and Gene, I think you were asking if I could possibly give my input as to what could have happened.
Shed some light on the Joint Chief of Staff who was appointed originally to lead, I believe, the Army in his first term.
Well, actually, that when you're the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, it's all the military, and he was a very sharp, polished officer, just as you said. I actually was there in Air Command and Staff College with that gentleman, and he was sharp at that point in time and continued on throughout his entire career. I know that General Brown didn't shy away from the tough topics, and I hate to speak in anything other than facts with you, but it's hard to find out why he was actually let go. There was a lot of talk under the current administration with separating those officers that had the woke mentality. And again, that's goes back to changing definitions of words to fit your narrative. I know General Brown looked out for all military service members in all branches. And if there was a tough topic that may have dealt with race or something of that nature, he didn't shy away from it.
You know, Colonel, I did want to ask this question to piggyback on what Gina said.
Okay.
I've never heard of a philosophical litmus test for serving the nation. The loyalty to the Constitution, fidelity to the document, fidelity to the people of the United States seems to be the essence of what the loyalty oath, placing one's hand on the Bible and the loyalty oath are sufficient. But this idea that, hey, I want to know if you're into liberation theology. I want to know if you're into, Native American independence talk. Since when was there a political litmus test a philosophical litmus test for service in the nation's military?
Actually, there's not one. What you learn early on is you're going to serve at the pleasure of the president. However, it doesn't matter whether if you're a Democrat, the president's a Republican, or an independent, or you're a Republican, and the same holds true. It does not matter. It does not matter. You take that oath to the Constitution, and we understand that whoever's sitting in that seat is the commander in chief. And I think that's why it shocks many people today on some of the verbiage that comes out, because it has nothing to do with service to our country.
One of the great scenes, Gina, and I'm going to pitch it to you for the remainder of the program. One of the great scenes in the movie Glory is at the very beginning when Abraham Lincoln is, I think he's at Antietam, but he may be at another battle, and a white soldier walks up to him and starts talking about the Gettysburg Address, and they can't really remember the words to the Gettysburg Address, but the black soldiers step up and recite the entire Gettysburg Address back to Abraham Lincoln. And he encourages them to go back and join their regiments and go fight. And so I see this duality here where the law, the code better than anyone. But it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice what it meant to go to Hampton University.
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead, G.
So Colonel Reyes.
She want to call you Tony. So that's a full bird, Colonel.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to go back to General Brown for 1 second, because as I understood it, now President Trump again named him to lead the Army, but it was Biden who made him the Joint Chief of Staff.
Exactly.
And so this crossover measure, because we played General Milley earlier on show, and so what I find is anyone, even in the military, no matter what your commendations are or what your service has been, your ability to lead is expendable if you don't line up with this. I find very dangerous for our country. And that is what I am really trying to get to. When you don't have the best of the best, and let's take DEI out of it for a moment, because you and I had a conversation about the best of the best, that the best of the best comes from every walk of life. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be from a particular school, but you are highly intelligent. And it's a shame to make certain children feel like they might not be the best of the best if they don't fit, if they're outside of the diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the same for other children. So everybody getting that same chance. But it does seem to me that when we apply this in the military, that we put our country in some sort of peril. Is that really far off?
I don't think it's far off, and I also think that it's so strange to me that to hear that this person's a DEI hire, or this, be careful, this pilot might be a D. What in the world does that mean?
Mm.
Because the last place in the world, if you want to use that terminology, the last place you're going to find a quote unquote DEI hire is in the military. There was no. I mean, we were told, we were given the blueprint coming in through the ROTC program at Hampton, but there was nobody handing out, well, come over here so we can have it a little bit easier here. Come this way because somebody's going to look out for you. No, 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 no. It was anything but that. If you need to go look somewhere, go look at the Ranger School graduation photos and look at how many people look like you are in those photos. So to hear that label placed on military members, it just it boggled the mind, because that's one place where you knew either you cut the mustard or it was goodbye. So to throw out that, well, don't worry about that, General, he's a DEI hire. What people have to go through to attain the rank of general, and then let alone be a 3 or 4 star or the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I can't even, it would take me too long to stay on here and talk to you about it, but to even throw the term DEI hire to the right or left of someone that has attained that level in their military careers is embarrassing and disgusting.
It's insulting. There's
Exactly.
absolutely no doubt about it. And, these are men and women who are prepared to sacrifice their lives for their country. And if there's anything that history has shown us, is that we were willing to fight for a country that more often than not, then and now, isn't willing to fight for us, or isn't willing to stand by us, or isn't willing to guarantee all of the rights and privileges of what it means to be an American, what it means to be a human being, for goodness sakes.
Absolutely.
And that has been our struggle, the struggle for basic human dignity and human decency. Colonel, we always ask on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show our guests to complete or to end on a word of hope. We have about a minute and 45 seconds. Can you offer the nation, from your perspective, a word of hope at this hour?
As a matter of fact, I can. We have a great deal of young people that are still excited about the idea of serving and belonging to something that's bigger than themselves. They deserve leadership that is prepared to take them in and lead them the right way. If you cannot be a good example for our young people, then step aside.
Well, it doesn't get much more frank and clear than that, Gina.
I say, thank you, Colonel Reyes. Now, I know you're going to be staying with us for the next hour as Diallo Brooks joins us when we come forward.
Yes,
on
ma'am.
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. Our very special guests is Colonel Anthony Reyes, and coming forward is Diallo Brooks, one of the best and brightest that our nation has produced. When we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The government shutdown is over, but federal workers are still waiting on back pay. This Black worker in Birmingham, Alabama says seeing an 80